Hello, everybody. Welcome to your notes for Lesson 6.0, which is the beginning of Chapter 6, which we will complete after Chapter 7. What you need to understand here is that the very beginning of this chapter is about graphing. So now the graphing that's going to take place is basically the same graphing that you've done previously. So as you look at all this stuff that you're doing, the graphing that's going to be involved is going to be using the slope formula quite a bit if you need to find the slope of an equation if you have 2 points. But most importantly, we're going to focus in on slope-intercept form this time, along with point slope possibly, but standard form is going to be big in this section because it really helps with story problems. So these two at the top are going to be kind of vital. This stuff in the top of your notes section is mainly just formulas and some work on how you convert from standard into slope-intercept form. You take this equation right here, which is standard form, and you convert it to slope-intercept. This is just some little work to show you how that is. But I'm going to start by doing example 1 for you, and this is a really nice problem because this is already in y equals mx plus b format. So as you look at this, the slope is your 5/3 right there. It's actually negative 5/3. And your b, which hopefully you remember, is your y-intercept. Now you can always go back and it kind of tells you right here in these little formulas what those mean. So this is a pretty easy thing to graph. So the b is your y-intercept. And that's kind of like a point, an ordered pair. The x will always be 0 in the y-intercept, and the y value will be this end number, which is 4. It's the number without the x. Now your slope in this case is going to be whatever is in front of the x, and in this case, your slope is going to be negative 5/3. And if you remember in class, we talked about b being like your beginning number. So I'm going to begin this graph at 0, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. And then since your slope is negative 5/3, I'm going to go down 5, 1, 2. Let me kind of like draw this in here a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. So what I'm doing is going to go down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to go over 3 units. That's the run. 1, 2, 3. So I get to this brand new point, and I could create it right here. I don't really normally count the bubbles, but I'm doing that to kind of show you on this screen how it looks. And then you can do this a second time if you want to. Down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, over 1, 2, 3, and all of your points should line up. And then after this, you will just draw a line through these points the best you can. And here you have it. And this is the line that fits this equation in slope-intercept form. The next one is really close to slope-intercept form, but it's a little bit off. So instead of being y equals mx plus b, you don't really have a y alone. You've got this extra 2 here. So we need to move that to the other side. Since it's multiplied by the y, you will move it by division. But don't forget, when you divide, you need to divide everything. So these cancel. Whoops. The 2's cancel. And you end up with y equals 5/2 x. It's a positive this time. And then negative 8 divided by 2, use a calculator if you're ever unsure, is negative 4. So once again, this is your b. So you go on the y-axis down 4, 2, 3, 4 right here. And then your slope is going to be rise 5, run 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. And once you get that second point, you can make a third if you want to do it again, but you're just going to do your best to draw a line through these 2 points. Got to make that line a little bit better so it goes to that point. And there you have it. There's the equation of your line. It does go on forever, so I'm going to put arrows on this one, which I should always do. And that's example 2. Now, example 3 gets to standard form as opposed to slope-intercept form. Now, you do have a couple options here. Option 1 is to move it into slope-intercept form by getting y alone, but I'm not going to do that because I think it's faster in standard form if you just graph by intercepts. What I mean by that is find the x-intercept. The x-intercept has a y value of 0. You just don't know what that x value is. That's where it crosses the x-axis. So I'm going to substitute a 0 in for y. And I get 2x plus 3 times 0 equals 6. The convenient thing about this is 3 times 0 is 0. So you get 2x equals 6. And you can solve by dividing by 2. And you get x equals 3. So your point for the x-intercept is actually 3, 0. Likewise, when you do the y-intercept, instead of having to do it in the slope-intercept form, which is fine, you will just put a 0 in for x. But you don't know that y number because that's your y-axis crossing location, hence the name y-intercept. So if I substitute x with a 0, you're going to get 2 times 0, which is nothing, plus 3y equals 6. So then just divide by 3, and you get y equals 2. So here are your 2 points. And then once again, you get out your straight edge, and I'll use this little tool here, and you graph your line that is a representation of this equation. If you did another form, you'd get the same exact line. All right, now the last one's going to seem overwhelming at the beginning, but let's take a look at this for a moment. So as we look at this, on a weekend, the CHS musical sold a total of 12 adult tickets and 7 child tickets. So that's kind of what's right up here. So this says 12 adult tickets and 7 child tickets. And they made a total of $231 when they did that. So these things all kind of go together. As you continue to read, it says the next weekend they sold 8 adults and 3 child tickets for $139. So 8 adults and 3 child tickets. And then that was $139. So the key here is what we're going to be eventually getting to is we're going to need to find the price for how much each of these tickets would cost. Now, you could kind of guess and check your way through this, but if these are decimals, it's going to take you a long time. So what the best way to do this for the next chapter is to create an equation for each situation and then graph. So that's the mission. So I'm going to go back to this black information. And if I sold one adult ticket, no matter how much it cost, if it was $20, it would be 12 times 1, or 12 times 20, sorry. And if I sold 2 adult tickets, the total money I'd get, if it was $20, would then end up to be 2 times $20. But I sold 12 of them, so it's really 12 times 20, but I really don't know what that amount is, so that's why we call it A. So my equation is going to be 12A, so however much that costs, 12 tickets times the price of the ticket. And if I add that to $7 or 7 total tickets, but the cost of the child ticket is unknown, and the total amount of money I made when I add those together is 231. So then how are we going to graph this? We're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to set A equal to 0 and solve. That wipes out the 12A. So you get 7C equals 231, and you divide by 7, you divide by 7, and whatever this answer is, you're going to end up with, let's see, 231 divided by 7 is going to be 33, using my calculator there. Now, when you graph this in a moment, we're going to have these x and y axes. This is normally the x-axis down here, but I'm actually going to call it the a-axis because that's my variable. And this I'm going to call the c-axis instead of y because my 2 letters are the cost of the adult ticket and the cost of the child ticket. So then I'm going to have to do this again. So I'll put a little wiggly line here. And now instead of a being equal to 0, I'm going to say what happens if the child tickets were free and $0. That wipes out the 7C. So you get 12A equals 231. And then, of course, you divide by 12. And you're going to get A equals 231 divided by 12 is, ooh, it's a decimal. Don't freak out about that. 19.25. So now I have two ordered pairs here. This first ordered pair, since the A is in the X position, I put that first, 0, 33. So if I look at my scale, it's already set up. So here it looks like I count by 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Looks like I'm counting by twos. So 33 is like right around here. And my second ordered pair is going to be the 19.25 comes first. 19.25. Sorry, I'm trying to write small here. 0. Now, where would 19 be? So 20 is way over here. So 19.25 is kind of right in here somewhere. Do your best because these sometimes are decimals. Now, for the second situation, you have 8 adult tickets, and I still don't know how much they cost. And I add that to 3 child tickets, and depending on how much they cost, that's how much money you're bringing in. But this total is 139. So then once again, I do A equals 0. That wipes out the A. You get 3C equals 139. Going to my calculator and dividing by 3. 139 divided by 3 is 36.3. So that would be my C, 46.3. And then I kind of do a separate problem again, and you put C equals 0. So that wipes out my C. I get 8A equals 139. And divided by 8, divided by 8. And then 139 divided by 8 is going to be, where did I do that? 17.375. 17.375. And that's going to be my A. Oh, just a little footnote here. There's this special circle at the top here. If you put a star in there, when you turn this in, you're going to get a bonus point. Okay, so as we move forward, now I'm going to have to graph these two ordered pairs. So once again, my A comes first. So 0, 46.3. So 46. So this is 50, way at the top of my screen, and it's 40 like right there. So 46, a little over halfway, 42, 44, 46. So right in here somewhere. And then this one is 17.37 comma 0. So I go 17, 15, 16, 17.3, like right here. Now I did this in separate colors so I can connect my colors with a line. So I'm going to start with connecting the blues from here to here. And then I'm going to move that with connecting the 2 black dots. I could have done this earlier. And I do this. And when they cross, you're going to find out in the next lesson is the cost of each of those. So if you didn't quite understand number 4, don't freak out about it because that is it's a challenge problem and we need to get there by the end of the chapter. So if you're doing okay with that, you're going to be fine. So that is all for today. Thanks for coming, and don't forget to submit pictures of this into Canvas for credit.